Your body knows how to be healthy. I'm your host, Martha Blessing, and this is the Place to Be Free podcast, a show that is passionately devoted to illuminating the potential within you. We're shaking up and breaking up old paradigms so you can free up your mind and body to create profound well-being and a ridiculously happy and successful life. Welcome to this episode of the Place to Be Free podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. And today's topic in the podcast, I'm talking about how do we heal? Can we heal when doctors or professionals have told us that it's not possible, number one, and because it's an injury or something that happened to us quite some time ago when we were maybe a child. We had some kind of an injury or an accident, and we've been told that that's just how it is. It's not going to get better. For those of you that are new to the podcast or new to me and the things that I talk about in my work, I'm a medical medium and a healing mentor. And why is that important in this podcast? Well, I too was told that I would not walk again at one point in my life. And I do come upon many prospective clients and clients who have struggled with some kind of ailment, chronic pain. Usually it's chronic pain. And it's supposedly the result of some kind of an injury or an accident. The reason why I say supposedly is because I want to talk about energetics and genetics and the role that they do and they don't play when we're told that there's an injury, underlying cause, and it can't be fixed and it can't be healed. I was a nurse for 25 years, but I've also been a third generation intuitive and spiritual healer since a very, very young age. It's been in my family for many generations. And when I was in nursing school, I started receiving messages about the mental, emotional, and spiritual causes of the physical illnesses, which is quite honestly the root cause of so much illness that we have. And so where does this fall into when we're told that there's an injury, right? For me personally, people used to ask me, why did you have 3 back surgeries? Did you hurt yourself? And if you had asked me that 25 years ago, I knew that wasn't the truth, but I didn't really have an answer for it. I didn't know how to articulate. Now that I've gone through so much and I have the language and the understanding of quantum healing and metaphysics and the spiritual laws of the universe, I can explain it to you. So that's the topic of what I'm going to go a little deeper into in this podcast. If we have a belief that we've had an injury. So one young woman has anxiety. She has chronic neck problems. Energetically, there's a congestion of energy, obviously, around her neck. Now, my gift and my skill is I can see the energy and I can see the cause of it. So I'm not denying that she had an injury when she was a child. There was a traumatic injury. However, here is what happens many, many times. When we're in either some sort of dysfunction or trauma or codependent living situation, if there is distress in the home, people say that children are resilient, and they are. However, what happens between the emotional body, the feeling body, the mental, the subconscious, which is in the high heart, seed is in the high heart, the conscious, the unconscious, and the subconscious. It's just fascinating how these all work together. We often will attract a trauma as the result of our environment. It may be that we're looking for attention. We're looking for love that we don't get. We're in a stressful situation and we just want it to end. And as a child, by having an accident, it can, and I'm not saying it can be unconscious, it can be subconscious, but by having an accident of some kind, we short circuit the stress of the family dynamic that we're in, because now all the attention can become diverted to us, right? And there's numerous other possible scenarios to the situation, but it's very, very common. And when that happens, and then we're told, due to this injury, it's not going to get better, what happens is I get the messages, number one, and they're like, oh, yeah, she can heal that, no problem. Here's what she has to do. And it is unconscious, buried down below. So the symptom is what cannot be healed, but the cause can. And as a result, the symptom will go away. It will not need to be there anymore. So what happens energetically, mentally, emotionally is that the accident happens, and the reason why it happened is still stored energetically as a trauma in the subconscious mind. The wound, the pattern, whatever was going on, whatever we were trying to do to create a sense of safety in our world when we were a young child, that has not been healed, that has not been addressed. And so the symptoms must remain. And I know that may sound like a stretch, but I have seen it time and time again. So I'll use myself as a personal example, because God, source, did not give me any more or less than he, she gave anyone else on the face of the earth. That's just the truth of how this works. We are all in the same field, in the same energy, in the same creation. Yes, we grew up in all different patterns and different parents and socioeconomic situations, but at the core, we are all the one mind, the one heart of intelligent divine substance. In my life, the 3 back surgeries and the resulting, I lost function in my left leg from my knee down and was unable to walk and had 3 back surgeries. If all I did was that, what medicine had for me, I would still be in a wheelchair. But it truly is by the grace of God that I asked questions and said prayers. The truth of it all unfolded for me, and I was willing to be open to see it. So the point of it all is that there was a long history of abuse. There was alcohol in my family growing up. There was sexual abuse. The way that a child often will deal with these things is to do what I call, shut off and cut off our feelings and our emotions so we can't feel the pain. Well, we also can't feel the joy in life. And that stuff gets buried. Our resiliency is that we bury it. And it goes into the tissues, right? It goes into the cells. The cells have memory. And the memory of that incident and those incidences of that abuse, the pain and the trauma and the feelings get stored in the cells. And so there's a reason why did I have this back pain and this back problem at this level, at this lumbar level? Well, it's where the abuse occurred, right? If surgery was the answer, why did it take 3? And it still wasn't better. I was still in daily chronic pain every single day for 10 years. But when I uncovered the abuse and remembered it and restored my memory of myself to my divine being, to my divine self, and recognized I was not that abuse, I was not that trauma, now it was free to leave because I created a new neural pathway and a new way to look at those events. So the actual injury, working as a nurse, lifting a patient, and it seemed like I hurt my back lifting patients, but that's not really the truth of it. I did hurt my back, but the body knows how to heal, and it could have recovered from that. And eventually it did. I mean, I have absolutely no back pain whatsoever after 10 years of daily chronic pain. It's because I looked at what was the underlying cause and what were the underlying events and emotions that were stored in my unconscious, in my feeling body, in my energetic body, that were programmed into my tissues. The issues are in the tissues. So with this gal, I'm looking back to what was going on in her childhood when that accident occurred. And I can find and nail it down to the exact emotions and things that were going on, and whether it was a parent or a sibling feeling. Most of the time, it's a feeling of being unlovable or unworthiness or not feeling safe. Because from the time that we're in utero till we're about 10 years old, we are not able to reject anything that's placed into our conscious mind, isn't developed. And so we're being programmed, and we're at the mercy of our environment, our parents, to feel safe, to provide safety for us, to feed us, to clothe us, to take care of us. And when that doesn't happen and we can't control our situation, we can subconsciously bring an event into our lives where now all of the attention is placed on us so that we can feel safe. So if we go back, if you are someone who's been told that can't be healed, right? It's pretty common. There's another woman who, same thing, she's got this chronic cervical and thoracic pain. And she said, well, I had an injury. It can't be healed. I go back and I look at what was going on when you had the injury. And I'm ever so grateful that my guides have given me this, God has given me this connection to spirit and to know and to be able to discern exactly what was going on, it's what I call the point of agreement for illness and injury. And so this point of agreement, where did we make an agreement in our bioenergetic field and in our subconscious to have this injury and this illness and this experience? And it is for the evolution of our soul. It's for part of our purpose and why we came here. And if all we do is hold on to the idea and the fact that it can't be healed, well, then it can't be healed. But if we're willing to say, let me take a look at this. Let me see, is it possible? Am I willing to go back to that place in time with someone who can be a facilitator and see what that agreement was, and now go back and decide and choose and rewrite the story? That's what it is. It's rewriting the story. Instead of letting doctors write the story for you, or the trauma, the wound of the past, decide that you made that agreement and you're going to unmake it in order to live your highest and your best, to live at that next level of wellness and that next level of consciousness within your body. That's how we go to the next level. Question everything. That's how I got to this place, was when I asked different questions, I got different answers. If you have questions, please leave a comment, hop on over to either the website at marthablessing.com and you can reach out to me there, or you can leave a comment here on the podcast website. And I'm happy to answer your questions and dig a little deeper. Have a great, great day. And I will see you again in the next podcast. Thanks for listening to the Place to Be Free podcast. And if you liked what you heard and you want to know more, go to marthablessing.com/free stuff.